IPOs, listings. Let's talk about a recently listed IPO. In fact, Studds. That company came out with its Q2 numbers and looks like a very healthy set of numbers. And margin expansion is also something that the business has noted this time around. So let's understand if this kind of momentum can sustain going into the second half as well. To do that, we're being joined by Mr. Sidhartha Bhushan Khurana, the Managing Director at Studds Accessories Ltd. And Mr. Khurana, hi, morning. Thanks for your time. Talk to us a little bit more about your second quarter numbers. You've delivered steady growth, strong margin expansion. If you could help us understand what were the main demand drivers this time around and if this momentum can sustain into the second half of this fiscal as well.
You for having me on the show. The second quarter numbers, as you said, were strong. We had a growth of about 6.5% on the top line, and YOY, the bottom line, had a growth of almost 18%. And looking at the half-year numbers, the first half-year numbers, the revenue growth is 6.5%, and the bottom line growth is about 23%. So there has been a substantial margin expansion. Going forward, we think that these margins are steady state, and we expect these kind of margins to continue for the rest half of the year. And we expect to land up on the top line side anywhere between 9 to 10% year-on-year growth.
But tell me, you're adding about 1.5 million units of helmets and box capacity with a 150 crore rupee capex, right? Which you're targeting for the first quarter of the next fiscal. What is the expected revenue contribution from this new capacity in the full year of operations?
So the new capacity is actually divided into two phases. The first phase starts in the first quarter of next year, and it'll add about 1.5 million units to our capacity. On the top line side, I think it'll give us anywhere between 80 to 100 crores of revenues on the first year itself. And I think with the recent GST change on motorcycles, we're seeing uptick on the motorcycle sales, and I think that's also translating to the helmet sales as well.
If you can also take us through how the demand is for your product overseas, especially exports and all. You said there is a tailwind coming in for you from a motorcycle point of view. Are you seeing the same happening from two-wheelers or entry-level two-wheelers as well?
On the export side, it's a different story because there is also market share gain, right? Because we were late entrants. So we started our new brand SMK in 2016. So it's just about 9 years old. So it's more of a market share gain which is happening in export market. And just to give you a number, right, like motorcycle helmet market globally is growing at about 6% for last 5 years. Whereas if you look at Indian exports, we are growing at about 21%. So that's the kind of traction that we're finding on the export side. And we think that exports will keep continuing to grow at these kind of numbers going forward for at least a couple of years to 3 years.
Okay, I believe we have him on